Hi and welcome to another video from the Intelligent Auto channel. Today we have this 2008 Jaguar X Type. It's a 2-litre diesel and basically I'll start it up and you'll hear how it's running. It's running like a pig, it's noisy, it's rattling and it's smoking. So I'll go for the start up and you can witness it for yourself. So as you can hear, not very pleasant at all. So I would take that as being customer complaint confirmed. What we'll do next is look at some scan data, see if there's any false code stored, which could point us in the direction that we need to go to diagnose this fault. Got the scanners hooked up here. Go for fault codes. The airflow meter fault, I'm going to ignore that as I've got it disconnected. Rail pressure sensor, range of performance, fuel pressure regulator, injector control pressure too high, injector control pressure above expected level, and injector control pressure regulator open. So let's look at some live data and see what's happening with the rail pressure. There's the rail pressure there. Start this up. Basically what's happening there is the rail pressure is maxing out to 1800 bar. So there's definitely a regulation issue with this vehicle. So next step, let's look at the engine bay, just make sure there's nothing out of place, and then we'll take a look at the wiring diagram to see how this regulator is controlled. Here we are under the bonnet. As you see, I've got the air filter removed, so the air mass meter is disconnected. This is the fuel pump down here. If you can see the brown plug on the back of the fuel pump, that's the regulator. So it's a 2-wire plug that's on it. It'll be controlled by, there'll be power on one side of it and there'll be a PWM, pulse width modulation controlled ground on the other side of it. So let's take a look at the wiring diagram. There we go, there's the regulator there, highlighted in blue. As you can see, it takes its power from the fuse box, fuse 20, 7.5 amp fuse, and then the other side of it comes from the PCM, which will be the controlled side of the regulator. First thing to do is we'll unplug the regulator and check to see that we've got a power and a ground to that component. First of all, take the plug off. Pop that off like so. Take a test light. Got it connected to battery ground. Plausibility check on the light. It's working. Ignition's on the car. Nothing on that pin. Now we've got power on that pin. Which I didn't have before. What I want to do, when videos go wrong, I checked that before, I had no power. So just grab a back probe there, go back into that pin, just check that we still have power. We do. I'm going to start this up and see if it runs any better. think you would have seen when that was running there, the test lamp was going dull. Engine was still running like a pig, should we say. So, I checked this before the start of this video and there was no power on that pin. So me pulling on the wires, I must have disturbed something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prove that this is a wiring fault. This video is going in a totally different direction than I wanted it to, but hey ho. So the power comes from a 7.5 amp fuse in the fuse box. I'm going to get you on the fuse box and show you that fuse. The fuse is fuse 20, which is this one here. As you can see, we've got power on both sides of that fuse. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that fuse out. And using my multimeter, that's what I'm doing. I've got it on a 10 amp setting. I've got it wired. You see it's got a 10 amp fuse in it. So this is going to be my fusible link. I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to bypass the wiring to this regulator. So what I've done there is I've got one of the leads into the power supply from the fuse box, from the fuse, and I've got the other lead down. Show you. You can see down, back probed still into that regulator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the car up. See if you notice a difference in the engine note. So as you should be able to hear there, the car is running, or the engine is running properly now. I'm just going to grab this test lamp and put it into the back of this multimeter lead. And you can see also the test lamp is now shining brightly, not going dull. I've just disconnected it there. We'll put that wire back in there. So if I put that, like, pull in there. Put that back in there. And we'll get the test, yeah, the test lamp's on the screen there. Started back up again. And what you should see is the test lamp doesn't go dull this time. There you go, the test lamp's still shining bright. As soon as I pull the wire out there, it starts misbehaving. So, proving that we have got a wiring fault between the pin on the regulator where it comes out the fuse, which I'm going to, fuse box, sorry, which I'm going to assume is down here somewhere, because there was no power to that plug at all before, but there is now.